One from the US, and drug giant Johnson & Johnson might need a headache tablet this morning. It's set to pay out a massive settlement in the US. The company faces a $2.2 billion penalty. US authorities allege drugs were marketed off-label for unapproved uses and that kickbacks were paid to doctors and nursing homes. So could anything similar be happening right here in Australia? We're joined this morning by our medical editor, Dr. Cindy Pan. Good morning, Cindy. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Hello.
This is a pretty concerning story from the US with the side effects with this specific medication. Can you tell us what the concerns were with the side effects?
Well, all antipsychotic medication has side effects, and probably in terms of side effects, you've got to weigh the side effects against how efficient or effective the drug is. So, yeah, I think it has to be accepted that at the point that you need an antipsychotic, there are going to be side effects. But the issue is that if a patient needs an antipsychotic, either for sedation or to help with behavioural problems such as agitation and aggression, then you know, it's just a question for the physician to try and choose the best drug out of those available and balance the benefits versus the risks.
Is the problem here that the drugs were being used for a purpose other than their primary intent? Is that what the story is?
Okay, so for most medications there'll be a primary indication. So for example, for the drug Risperdal, the primary approved indication is for schizophrenia. However, many geriatricians, psychiatrists and psychogeriatricians find that they can use it for off-label purposes, such as for assisting with re-establishing sleep, for sedation in people who are highly agitated and aggressive. And we're talking about patients who, in that state, are a danger to themselves and those around them. And I was telling you earlier about that case where an elderly woman who was so agitated and wandered and various behavioural problems whereby she had to be basically strapped into her chair and then slipped and she actually was strangled. So this is the sort of issue that you're talking about, where sometimes these drugs are seen as being useful. And the scientific literature supports its use, and it's very commonly used in Australia for off-label purposes.
Cindy, when Tash first brought this story to my attention, we were speaking about it late last night, I was pretty shocked, but speaking with you earlier, you don't seem to have that same, but if Johnson & Johnson haven't done anything wrong, why are they being forced to pay out $2.2 billion?
Okay, so there's what is medically and ethically wrong, and then there's what doesn't fulfil the rules and the criteria. So the government has made a ruling that drug companies aren't allowed to market for off-label purposes. It doesn't mean that it's wrong to use them for off-label purposes. The people who are prescribing it, they're doing it because that is what they regard as best practice. It's not because some drug company gave them a pen.
The issue I've got with this though, one of the side effects with children, apparently on this drug, it gives them the hormone that then causes some children to grow breasts. I mean, the issue that I've got is it's about making informed decisions, and you need to know the side effects, and are doctors and pharmacists telling people the side effects with these drugs before they take it? This drug is used in nursing homes in Australia.
Yeah, it's used because that's where they have those problems. So every drug has potential side effects. I mean, the gynecomastia or breast development, I mean, that's not a particularly common side effect, but there are a lot of side effects. It's just a question of which of those antipsychotics is going to be appropriate for someone who has that need. I mean, it'd be better if people didn't have schizophrenia and didn't have behavioural problems, but since they do, the physicians who look after them still have to make a choice, make a judicious choice of what's going to be the most appropriate drug. Now, if you could have drugs that had all the benefits without any side effects, then that would be the preferred drug, and presumably the government should approve that drug. But the issue is that sometimes there aren't perfect drugs, and that's why schizophrenia is such a problem, and that's why these behavioural problems are a significant problem. That with an ageing population, it is difficult to look after elderly people who have these problems, and sometimes the staffing levels might not be adequate to look after people in what might be considered their best possible care, and sometimes they need medications to help manage these problems.
Cindy Pan, we've run out of time. I'm so sorry. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure.